This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. Today, 4 more teams make their Stage 1 debut, including our Kickoff champions. Plus, we're going to see Aspas versus Demon 1 yet again. Oh, baby. It looks like your Saturday is all officially booked up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to VCT Americas, coming at you live once again here in the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. Of course, I'm Golden Boy here. You got Ender. You also have Mimi. And look at that. We brought a 4th person because why the hell not? It's Wyatt joining us again here today, fellas, and
I appreciate that.
Good to see everyone. It's gonna be quite the day.
Yeah, we put no more thought into bringing you in than why not?
Why not? Why not for why not?
Nice little handout.
Yeah,
Thanks, you guys.
Los Angeles is so angelic.
Huh? Yeah. Wait a minute. Like so Los Angeles? Or
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles, Mimi.
Yeah, we're in Los Angeles.
Angeles.
I don't know where this Angeles is. In any case, so let's go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday on this very stage, shall we, people? All right. Now, in our first match of Stage 1, it was NRG versus Cloud9. And folks, Zephyr decided to drop a 50 bomb for the dub again. So there you go, Christy.
Classic, yeah. You absolutely love to see that. Honestly, that series between C9 and NRG was wild because after map 1, I think everyone was like, wow, this NRG team is back. Their fundamentals look so strong.
You literally said to me after we finished casting map 1, wow, I'm really looking stupid with my pick now after you won the few C9 predictor.
And you know what? My prediction looks great after the next 2
Not dumb anymore. Yeah, but look, I mean, Mimi, I think it was very clear that both teams came into this one leveled up, but it was C9 that managed to, pull that through in the end, and that's big for this team to be able to lock up a win like that again.
Yeah, that was very important for making it to playoffs. Those are 2 teams kind of fighting for that same position in that group, but that was kind of the same case for this game here. It looked like it was going to be loud all day after the start of this series, and it changed up a lot after that.
Yeah, 2 absolute stomps back-to-back into a great 3rd map where Keznit brought out the Jet on split with the Tejo breach, which was interesting, and then he went crazy, which he always seems to do on that map.
Yeah, it really was. That was just a wild one, man. 13-3, 13-2.
Stomp, and then close the game that off.
And it was crazy. Someone actually, I remember in the commercial break, someone posted, they were like, watch it be the closest game for map 3. And I was like, where's that? I hope you took out a lottery ticket or something like that.
Wait, can we kick Wyatt out of here and get that guy?
Yeah, let's just get that person.
As long as I still get my day rate for showing up now, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's all he needs, folks. All right. Well, look, guys, coming up today, we've got ourselves an awesome double header because first up, it's going to be G2 taking on Furia, and then after that we've got a kickoff rematch as MIBR goes toe-to-toe against Leviathan, where you'll see Rossi make his VCT Americas debut. Oh boy, Wyatt, what do you think about this, man?
And I'm excited for that one. Yesterday, I'd like your take, Christy and Mimi.
Yes.
Golden Boy and Bren, they dogged on me for putting Lev at the top of the group.
They were dogging you?
They were all over me.
This is the number 1 Lev fan right here.
I'm high on Lev. I have big investments, dividends in Leviathan for this stage, and I'm excited to see them debut with Rossi, who I think is going to take them over the top in quality.
Yeah, more than half my portfolio is Leviathan too. I'm actually.
You've got to diversify a little.
And think about this. Think about this. 2024. What happened? Kickoff. Leviathan.
They
come
very
out.
bad.
So they were stinkers, right? They lost to Loud and Sentinels, and then Stage 1. What did they do? They came in and were frying. Stage 2 end up winning. This team's playing the long game, and with Rossi on the team, I think they've got the legs.
Every fandom, but maybe G2's, is just, I think, in a doom spiral after Kickoff and thinks every team is bad, which is so untrue, because not every team can be bad. There's not enough room for that.
Well, they could be. They can all be bad, but one will still have to be the best.
But less bad. But I think MIBR Lev are the prime teams to be either of them could go up there, be competitive with the top teams in the league, and it honestly shouldn't be that surprising if it happens.
And I think without a doubt, these are going to be 2 teams that will be looking to do everything that they can to make sure that they can not be outside of that bubble. It's going to be real challenging, right? And a lot of that is going to boil down to how you approach the maps, how you approach these matches, because we're going week to week in this league, and it might be the second day of competition here in Americas, folks, but it's never too early to start talking about the meta. Oh Oh, everyone's favorite word that's not associated with a billion-dollar company. Now, where we could be headed is a question on our mind, so we've got a forecast, people.
It's real as hell for
First
me.
one, what can I say, bro? What can I say?
Yo, why are we on fire?
Can we talk about the planet? What is
okay?
Yeah, that's actually an accurate interpretation. Okay, so we have ourselves 3 climates here for the meta forecast. We got up first, we have Taeho.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense.
This makes sense, right? And like we're trying to predict like what are our 3 most picked agents gonna end up being here in America's Stage 1. Honestly, Taeho was already getting picked a ton during Kickoff in America's, way more than in the other regions. And then if you look at Bangkok, where he's the most picked agent whatsoever, you got to assume America's we're still going to be playing him.
You can make an argument for someone like Breach, but I think with the map changes coming up this stage, adding Icebox back in, adding Ascent back in, both those maps are, I think you're open to experiment with Taeho in some comps, and I expect some teams at least to be playing that. I don't really expect to see much Breach on either of those maps outside of a few squads. So I think this guy is continuing to be our most picked agent, most likely.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Breach would have been up there, but when you're talking about Ascent, that is all Omen all day historically. And Icebox, you see the occasional double controller with a Viper Omen as well. So I can see that entering, you know, a little bit more into the pool. And on Lotus, obviously, this is another one where you have Omen all the time.
Exactly, like Omen is just so prevalent. Shout out to the Bromans out there. But I'm interesting that we got Omen in this whole thing because he's been in the mix for a super long time.
For sure, and I think the reason that we chose to put him in as most played, not because I think he'll be a defining agent of the meta, but I think when you're looking at controllers, there's a lot that's viable right now. You know, there's Brim maps where you're pretty much only going to be playing Brim.
But we lost Bind.
Yes,
so it's like
you still basically have Fracture at this point, and then you're kind of divided between Astra and Omen. But already at both Bangkok and here in Americas, Omen was more picked, and again, you're adding Ascent, which has always been an Omen map in, and Icebox, where, like you mentioned, teams can dabble.
Yeah, so the Omen and the Taeho were the 2 most picked agents at Bangkok, and we're expecting that carryover.
Explain this one to me.
That's our wild card.
Because they're coming into Florida, and watch out, Florida.
Wait, is this your idea to put that there?
This was my idea to put that there, yes. And don't get me wrong, Yoru is the best duelist in the game, and I think our America's teams are trolling a little bit. The thing is, we have so many insane Jet players, like Kesnet is going to be playing Jet all the time, Dijazin is going to be playing it, Osboss is going to be playing it, so I think this is much more of an America's unique thing, where Jet is going to still be eclipsing stuff like Yoru, even though we are still going to see that guy.
Raze is also incredible, case in point. Kesnet playing Jet on Split. Like, we have a lot of players that will just play Jet no matter what happens. And, well, there are multiple viable duelists. Yoru's really good. Raze is really good. Some teams might try out the Waylay. I think across all that.
I'm an ISO believer.
I mean, legit.
I think we should
ISO's interesting.
ISO's good.
Fair amount of ISO. Though I don't think teams in Americas love the ISO Yoru on Haven. There's a lot more of the traditional stuff.
Boring teams. Not boring anything.
That's right. Don't go anywhere.
Get out of this woman.
With comps. They're exciting to watch with their boring comps.
All right, folks. Well, look, you want to know what's not boring? Our block party that's outside. That's right, Mimi. How dare you? Now, of course, like you said, we got this awesome block party here at the Riot Games Arena. Mimi's fired. There's food, there's drinks, there's swag, there's music, and there's even some VCT Americas legends standing on by with the one and only Dan Dryad to get their thoughts on today. Actually, we have one of them ready to go.
These block parties just get better and better because this time around, I'm at the Pulsar booth with Tens. And Tens, first of all, how's retirement treating you? And what are you up to here?
Retirement's pretty chill, first off. And what I'm doing here, I'm actually releasing my mouse with Pulsar. Take a look.
And that is insane. I feel like developing a mouse has to be an insane process as well. Can you tell me a little bit about how this all came up?
Yeah, so it was a pretty insane process, I'll first say. And we kind of started off with like a first base shape. From there, I just kind of molded it down and down until exactly what I got what I wanted. So here it is now, right here in the box.
And I'm trying to get my hands on this mouse. It looks really cool. So when can I do that?
So to all those that come to the VCT Americas games, it's going to be sold here at the Pulsar booth for the first 500 units. Afterwards, it's going to be sold online on April 14th, available to everyone worldwide.
So everybody trying to get this Pulsar mouse by tens, you know where to look and you know when to wait. So I'm so excited. I'm going to go in line right away. Thank you so much. And we'll send it back to GB.
Thank you so much for that, Dan. And I mean, listen, you're going to have to be around for at least a couple more interviews, so don't wait on that line too long now. That looks cool, though. Pretty dope. Happy to see 10.
I mean, while I'm waiting, though, I was just thinking, can we make like a mosh mouse? Like little
I'd be down with
buttons
that.
going right here?
I don't think that would work.
I mean, it fits my hand pretty nicely.
Yeah? Come on, Pulsar.
It's a little bit mushy. A mushy mouse. Why haven't we done that?
That should be the name of it, the mushy mouse.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah,
no.
that would be very virtuous.
Actually, Wyatt, you are a you use
Yeah,
pen
it
skill.
sounds like I'm paid off with
Yeah.
what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I wish I was, but I just like I have the other TENS mouse from an undisclosed company that we can't name. And I like that one a lot, and I honestly might go outside and buy one. And I know that sounds like I'm making it up in shilling, but I think I'm going to go outside and buy one after this segment.
Man, this guy just likes pens.
This guy heckin' loves the guy. All right, folks. Well, G2 came to Masters Bangkok as the #1 seed from the Americas region and finished in second place, falling in a Map 5 overtime banger to T1. And we sat down an opportunity with Valyn and Giacomo and Coach Josh RT for a look back at the team's global run.
It can only end this way. T1 dig deep and managed to pull off the win on split, sending G2 to the back with their heads held low while T1 have their heads held high.
Going into map 5, I mean, it's do or die for both teams. I knew it was going to be a tough game. And I mean, the crowd is definitely on T1's side, but at the same time, it was just about focus and locking in. Like, everything else didn't matter.
Pop flash, ready to be sent. Might not even be needed, but he gets a catch on the Valyn all the same.
We go in, terrible start for us. We're down like 4-0, but we've been resilient the whole series, so like we knew that this is still very much possible. We scratch and claw our way back to like an 8-4. Then there was round 23, and then it kind of shifted everything.
For G2, just one more. See if you can claim that Masters trophy.
I think in that pivotal moment, the team definitely felt a lot of pressure.
I think G2 saw that trophy in their eyes, but this flank finally, a lurk is able to go for T1. Spawn, go fast, spawn. Wait.
I think they ended up finding like some holes in our defense. And T1's a team that's like, if you give them that, if you give them an inch, they're gonna take the whole mile.
For Jonah P. To try to bring it back, but he cannot find it. T1, they hold on by a thread as they look to take us to yet another overtime.
I think I literally sighed. I haven't sighed in a while. Like, I usually don't sigh on the mic. I don't get mad over the mic, so.
That was my bad, boy. Sorry.
I was like, damn, like, did I just throw or did I just troll? Like, you know, like, in my head, that's basically what I thought, you know? Did we just troll as a team? Like, what happened?
I think we lost some of the situational awareness a little bit.
This is something that nobody really experiences as a player until you're at that stage trying to close a tournament out.
It didn't feel like we knew that was happening in the moment, you know? I was a little bit sad because it was about to go overtime because we were about to be broke for the next round. So I was like, oh, we're cooked right now.
Time once again dwindling. Trent gonna be taken down. Strap in. It is far from over. We are going to overtime.
I think the best performers is able to exhibit like strong emotional control, and that's something I recognize in T1 and how they're able to clutch so many of those moments.
We felt like we were in a blur. Like, we knew what we were doing, but the rounds weren't going on our ways.
In OT, I feel like they played a lot different. They took more risks, and they played to win.
As Meteor finds Trent. A 4v2, a 4v1. Giacomo, the one champion on this stage.
You should run.
Asked to do it all. The lockdown in play. No hope in hell.
I mean, I've experienced these moments at grand finals before. Obviously, I looked around at the crowd. It was roaring, and I was like, damn, it's not for me.
The uncrowned kings of a forgotten throne are at long last anointed.
I looked over to my left, Trent. He was just heartbroken. Jonah was just facepalm. Then I looked across the way to T1. Stacks ran at Buzz, hugged him like he's his kid, you know? I was like, damn, That's a good feeling right there.
T1 are your Masters Bangkok Champions!
First is just accepting the loss, and I think we've done that already, and we've come to terms with it and understood that you're not always going to win every event you play, every game you play, and sometimes it comes to the slimness of margins. Going that deep and not making it sometimes can actually make you a better team, make you a better player, because this was a test.
There's a big lesson of humility and just like, hey, there's a lot to work on.
Definitely think the motivation that we have after that loss is kind of going back to our roots. We're gonna be back regardless. Like, we know that for a fact.
Eventually our time will come. Unfortunately, Bangkok wasn't it. If we want it really bad, we're just gonna get there again. And this time, like, they're gonna give it to us, and I'm not letting go of it. Like, I'm snatching the trophy this time, forcefully.
That whole event, what an incredible journey, truly, for both G2 and T1, who are the champions out of Bangkok there. But of course, G2 coming into stage 1 with 6 massive championship points. And let's not forget, the addition of Jogamo has been paying off for this team as well. So there is a lot, Mimi, I think, to be excited about for the G2 team, especially even with the disappointing finish in Bangkok. I mean, disappointing for them, but they got freaking second place. Like, what an incredible run these guys went on.
What, they were up 12-10, and they lost on the final map. It went to OT, fell away. I don't think there's anything more heartbreaking than you can experience than being that close and seeing it fall away from you. But you know it's going to be a motivation for this team. They had the second place curse all last year in Americas, got their first trophy to start this year, and they're one of the few teams that is stuck with the majority of a roster, has a chance to build off of this honestly great start to the year.
And you'd expect them to be able to build off of that, because this team was basically defining the meta, at least here in Americas, doing a lot internationally as well, right? Very early adopters of the Taeho. Jogs playing the Euro on basically every single map as well, and working so much with Josh RT to make sure that he's one of the best Euros in the game, Wyatt.
Absolutely. And when you're talking about the fact that they were that second place cursed team, they needed that star duelist to push them over the top. That was Jaw. He gets them that first trophy. And as a player, when the lights are the brightest, he goes insane. 2 of the best series he's ever played are winning champs with EG and barely losing, but having a phenomenal series against T1 at Masters. Like, he is that guy.
If G2 had won, I think he might have stolen the MVP award away from Trent, who is like the best player, bar none, for G2 all tournament long. Jaw was just that good in that final to almost push them over the line. And it really shows why they picked that guy up, because he thrives on stages like that.
Yeah, I can't help but, though, think about history, right? And how teams that typically go into these big events, right, they come back and they kind of fall off. But something tells me, Ender, that this G2 team, right, like, you heard the way that they were talking about it, an incredible perspective that they have there to keep their heads straight as they get ready for this really tumultuous season.
100%. If you look at the history, they've been consistently one of the best teams in Americas over the course of last year and then leading off this year. And I think especially so much of that work comes from a guy like Valyn, who is leading this team so well in server, but also, like, it was so cool watching him in Bangkok, because between games, like, when the camera's on, you guys on the desk, he is up on stage, like, hyping up the crowd, getting so invested into it. Like, he lives for those moments, and you heard him talking about it. He's thriving to get back there again.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, we do have an opportunity earlier on to get some thoughts from Valyn. Hear what the IGL had to say following the loss to T1 in Bangkok in the Grand Final. So let's actually check that
out. Silver lining for me, I think that was some of the best resilience I've ever seen out of my team, honestly. And we played really well, but it wasn't enough. And I told them earlier, like, life of a competitor is the hardest thing ever, man. Like, you go through the lowest lows, and you also reach the highest highs with the team you have. And, there's no life without losses in everything you do. So, I told them, like, what's a life of only winning? We never wanted that. And so, silver lining, I think, there's still more tournaments. We got experience here, and this will only motivate us to get better.
Hey, ain't that the truth, brother? Life sometimes is all about the lessons we learn along the way. And if there's one thing I've learned from working and also seeing Valyn grow as a player, it's that this guy has truly, Wyatt, been an X factor for this team ever since he's been brought on board. The evolution of Valyn, we talk about him all the time. The guy's incredible.
Absolutely. There's an evolution, but also even when you go back to the beginning, when he debuted with the core of this team with the guard, you could see all of the same things that we praise him for now, then. But it's just continued to grow. That maturity we always talk about, the leadership. And individually, I think he's one of the best fragging IGLs in the game and has been for years at this point on top of it all.
Absolutely. I think, like, Valyn, to me, I might go out there and say that he's just the most consistent player in VALORANT, regardless of when he's playing in Tier 1 or fighting, you know, through Tier 2 with the guard. Like, this guy's kind of always been up there.
Yeah, he was so paramount for their performances last year as an individual, as a leader. He does it all. You mentioned when we worked with him, I remember doing those deaths with him in like 2022 in rural Pennsylvania and talking to him, and he was like watching the finals of like a challengers tournament and just looking there and so engrossed.
Literally
so,
breaking down rounds.
To wanting to be there. And I think it's so cool to see him now having these opportunities to be on a stage like that, to get closer to that. But I know that's only going to motivate him more to get another America's trophy here in Stage 1, go into Toronto, and win it for his team there.
Well, look, let's continue the love for Valyn moving forward here, because Dryad had an opportunity to catch up with the IGL earlier today ahead of the matchup.
I'm here with Kickoff champ Valyn ahead of match 1 of today. And Valyn, the grand final that we saw, that was one of the most insane ones that we've seen internationally. After that roller coaster of emotions of getting second place, how does the team reset for today?
I mean, it was a tragic loss for sure, but it's experience nevertheless. And so we kind of just take that experience and run with it. Kind of gives us more motivation to come in second, to come back to Americas, win again, go to Toronto, and try to get another shot at it. So it's bittersweet, but I think we took the right lessons from it.
And you got second place in Bangkok, but you're still the #1 and the Kickoff champ. So how does it feel to know that every team here is looking at you, is watching you, and wants to beat you?
Yeah, I would say like we've been in this position before. Like we've been at the top before where everyone's looking at us, so it's nothing new. I think it's kind of cool, to be honest, that everyone wants to beat us, but they won't, so let's see.
I like that. Best of luck.
Well, it's good to see that confidence hasn't left him at all there. But let's go ahead and move on to their opponents. You got Furia. Now, look, the best way to describe this team in 2025 is one word: unlucky. Okay, just gonna call a spade, all right? And look, they were super hot in the offseason, right? But then they get bogged down by travel issues, and they failed to capitalize on a win from a sub-roster Wyatt. There was a lot going on for Furia.
I mean, when you speak about the offseason, they were white hot individually. They looked like the best team. No, they were the best team from Brazil coming into the year. I thought they were gonna go on a run in Kickoff. People said that I was insane, and they were right. Absolutely planked. It was a tough showing, and I expect so much more from them going forward.
Got nothing. Hey, all those things I said, they were right. I'm dumb. No, but the thing is, though, is that, you know, what's difficult about this, Mimi, is that, you know, it just seems to be like a thing that always seems to be bogging them down.
Yeah,
last year,
surely they're going to have the full team now today, and they're not going to have any more.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because you see, they had plenty of time to rest, and while we were really excited to see Furia coming into this one, unfortunately, that's not going to be the case for MW0, who's going to be taking some time away from the game due to personal health reasons. And of course, we wish him the best. And, you know, having spoken to MW myself, I hope you do well, buddy, and take care of yourself and do what you need to do. But outside of that, Mimi, I mean, that is another blow for this Furia team.
But this is their best player, arguably, on the roster, now not able to join the
beloved player in the region as well?
Yeah, I mean, by far the most popular player on the team, who's always been, I think, kind of synonymous with Furia since he joined. And now he's getting subbed out, and instead Prize coming into this roster. He was on that Ascension run with 2G, played with them in Kickoff. We know how that went for 2G. So it's kind of tough to be super excited about Furia, because this is another blow where they're having to sub someone else in who also had kind of a rough kickoff.
Yeah, and obviously, like, Prize in a tough position trying to play with this 2G team that also didn't have a full squad during Kickoff. So there's not so much you can take, I think, individually from his performances there. It's rough. You know, he played against the Furia sub squad and ended up dropping to them in that tournament. What are you trying to say, Mimi?
Oh, I'm just,
Mimi's doing like this over here. I'm like,
she's doing hand signals.
I'm feeling too much negativity here, and I want to look to the one man who can bring some joy back to Brazil.
No,
please give me some code.
I'm not going to go too
Not
crazy.
necessarily against, they're playing G2.
I would simply ask, especially with Prize, you give him a bit of grace, leniency, and don't rate him based on kickoff because that was a total team failure. When you go back to Ascension, where 2G went on the run to get into VCT, he looked like a solid player at the time and was definitely at a higher level than he was at kickoff.
Thank you.
I'm shooting a bail.
Hey,
I'm mildly coping now.
Clearly, Furia saw something with Prize that they could take advantage of. But let's actually go ahead and check in with the longest running member of Furia. Here's Khalil Badraya.
I'm here with Khalil ahead of the third match of Stage 1. And Khalil, we've seen you in this team for quite some time, and you've seen many iterations of this roster. So can you tell me, what does Prize bring to the table for this Stage 1?
Acredito que ele traz bastante confiança para o time todo. Ele é um player exemplar, então isso acaba que afeta o time todo. E acredito que a gente vai fazer uma boa partida hoje. A gente teve um bom preparo. A gente treinou menos com ele do que com o MW, mas a gente está bem preparado para esse jogo.
Yeah, I believe he brings a lot of confidence to the team. He's a very good player. And we've been practicing with him. Of course, we didn't practice as much as we did with MW, but I think we're ready for a good game today.
All right, thank you so much. I'm excited to see this roster. Good luck.
Appreciate that, Drya. Now, of course, here's the thing. At VCT Americas, we know what the demo wants. We know what the youth want. Wait, actually, what do the youth want, guys?
TikTok.
TikTok.
I'm pushing 30.
I'll tell you what they want. Playing cards! Yeah! We got a fresh pack of VCT Americas playing cards.
That's Pokemon.
No, okay, well, that's a different one. Okay, here we go. So you guys know the deal, and I got my nice little glove here. We're going to open up some new rookie cards.
But then you touch them with your bare hand.
I got it. Now, we have some new cards here. These are the rookie cards, and there's one special rare rookie card. Here we go. So this is Rafa. Awesome. And that is coming in an 80 score. Next up, Cortesia.
That's a pretty solid pull.
Not bad, not bad. Followed by Rossi at an 84.
Okay, I would put Rossi a little higher, not going to lie.
I know, right?
87.
Then we have Shenum.
There's the 87.
There's the 87.
Oh, what's the special?
And the rare is... Oh, baby!
You got to put that in the top loader. Put it in the top loader.
Hold on. We only gave Baby Bay an 89.
My guy only gets an 89.
That's messed up. I think that's a great rating from the peak. Baby Bay at an 89. I think that's solid.
That's awesome.
Kind of fair.
And I'm glad you handled that with a glove.
It's a Challengers LCQ 2021. The event that didn't happen. That is the rarest card possible.
No, that event happened.
But online.
Online.
Yeah, I got hired. That was my first gig.
This is really good.
Hey, and actually, I do want to give a special shout out real fast to Sentinels because they're also doing some cards. So if you're in the arena right now, you can actually go to the Sentinels booth and pick up these awesome trading cards. And how much time do we have left?
Can I rip it?
You want to rip it? Go for it. Yeah. Okay. So I saw Rob Moore outside, and they were like, "Hey, you want to take one of these cards?" Hey, I know that guy, the 89 from the thing. You're from the card.
But we were not being told we were pulled up. I'm like mid-sip. Oh my God. We're probably up mid-sip here.
Mimi's
we're talking about this.
Hey, you know what? Peak Baby Bay though, 89 for sure. For sure.
You don't think you're hitting 90?
No one touched me. It wasn't even close.
You want to play with Furia?
Unless they were at 90.
You know what? They could use a player like me on their team with some of the stuff. Man. So let's just be honest.
Get out there then, buddy.
Just jump off, hop in.
Well, we'll check in with Bren and Baby Bay later on. But we got some new cards here, Mimi, from our friends at Sentinels.
We got the Zekin.
Oh,
we got
Qbert and his friend.
What's his friend's name?
I don't know. Little guy, little bro.
Oh,
John
quite talented.
Very nice.
Yes.
Indeed. Is that a bang?
That's a bang, yeah.
Okay.
Sen City shirt, yeah.
Ooh, okay. All right, nice.
And a hollow 10. All right, that's pretty.
You should wear the gloves.
You're going to bend it.
That's mine.
Crease.
That's mine.
PSA 4.
You can't.
I'm selling this. If you're in the venue, come find me.
Can't take these animals anywhere. Yeah, I swear. All right, let's take a look at talent predictions. What do we all think is going to pick up some dubs here today? And no surprise on the first game, but on the second one though, we got a little bit of a clash there.
It's such an honest prediction. 100% G2, love that, and then a majority MIBR, but a good. I'd like to see a little more Leviathan prediction, honestly.
Hey, look, me and Wyatt.
Yeah, we really are on the same.
We really are knowers.
Lev, they're going to be them. I don't know what to say. I've been arguing for this for 2 days straight. It's good. This is where it's proven.
Look, they gave Rossi an 84, I think, but if this is off-season Rossi, that guy's 99.
99?
Off-season Rossi was crazy.
He was in the 90s, for sure.
And then Cloud9 dropped him, but he's back.
He's back. All that matters is that he's here and he's playing now. Yeah. And hey, screw it, right? Of course, we'll see him later on today. But folks, I think, it's time to get this show started, shall we? Because we got some great matches on the docket, right? We have G2 Esports taking on Furia. G2, of course, being the runners-up from Bangkok. How are they going to perform? And then on the other side of that, you got MIBR versus Leviathan. It's going to be a clash, and VCT Americas starts ahora.
Bom, jogar contra o G2 vai ser um jogo que eles vêm muito hypado, né? Eles foram top 1 do Kickoff e top 2 agora do Masters, então vai ser um jogo muito difícil.
Me and Rafa definitely have some history in the IGL matchup. We played against each other in Ascension when he was on Union. I ended up taking a 2-1 victory over him, but it was a really close match to send us into the grand final.
Regard, discard of the Union.
I'm excited to get another match versus him. I know he probably is as well. He wants his revenge, but I'm much better than the Ascension version of myself. So he's going to be up for a challenge. I don't think he can handle me again.
Acho que vai ser tudo de uma forma mais saudável, do jeito que a gente prefere jogar, por conta que eu já jogava com o Rafão na D1, o Peu também, já é um time que eu tenho mais sinergia e a sensação que eu tenho é que vai ser tudo de boa e a gente vai conseguir performar.
And let's go ahead and get this show started, shall we? Riot Games Arena, put your hands together for G2 Esports. And of course, G2 coming out here with a lot of hype. That second place finish in Bangkok, but also being the Americas winners, America's Kickoff winners as well. They're looking, though, to add an America's trophy to that list.
Absolutely. We've had this narrative, and rightly so, in Valorant, where teams that come back from deep runs at these international events oftentimes have a little bit of a downturn period. I don't expect that for G2. This is a nice match for them to just
What in God's green earth is that, Jogamo? What is that?
That was foul.
Zoomed in on his tongue.
The gold 2 bundle, they're calling crazy.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's go ahead and bring out their crowds. Riot Games Arena. Let us give some love to Furia. And Furia, tall order for the squad, without a doubt. But you heard a little bit in that preamble before the match, right? A history between Rafa and Valyn, right? And what they had done back then in the Ascension tournament. So a fun little clash is going to happen here today for these guys.
Sure, but that still ended with the guard winning, going on to Ascend, becoming G2 now here in the Americas League. And for Furia, this is a tough task, having to fill someone into the shoes of MW, Zera, and face off against America's best team on your Stage 1 debut.
Yeah, they've been dealt the worst cards possible. It's one thing to have like a late in the moment sub come into the team. It's a whole other one to have this level of competition coming up first.
And we didn't really even talk about Heat. We didn't get a chance to, but I'm curious to see what he's going to be doing in this one as well.
Yeah, he came off of the best year in his competitive career with Crew. You would have thought that would have been a big upgrade for Furia.
Yeah.
He wasn't able to step up and kick off. Maybe he can today when they're lacking some firepower from MW being gone.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting to note for G2, they didn't have a lot of time compared to the other teams, coming off of their deep run at Bangkok to deal with these 2 map changes.
Yeah, how are they going to play Ascent? It's a wild card map.
Okay, but my point was they floated both of them. Okay. They left Icebox and Ascent open. They're willing to play either, and Ascent is what Furia picks into. Historically, Brazil loves Ascent. Historically, Furia pretty good at Ascent.
Historically, though, G2 with Trent, the best at Ascent.
Oh my!
But now he can't spam B main. Well, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a heartbreaker, honestly, for me. You know.
Honestly, look, here's my question going into the maps today. Obviously, G2 sort of defined the meta. Jogmo had been playing so much Yoru, but if you have been watching his stream, the man only plays Waylay now. He is putting in reps.
Okay, so do we think we're getting Waylay today, or is already troll?
He said on stream, I'm not playing in matches though. So I'm going to assume no.
The thing is, I bet he's going to be begging Josh to let him play at a map, and they're like, we just got second place with these comps, and they're still good. We're going to probably run it back.
Maybe.
If there was a map to play it, I think Waylay is viable on Ascent. But when you think, would I rather have something with Waylay or just have my Jet off and kill everyone?
The opping.
It's still a tough
I believe
sell.
he said on his stream as well, the only map that he doesn't like it on right now is Haven. But everything else, he's cool with it.
Well, then that certainly does make some question marks. That'd be cool, you know, if they gave him a little chance to do it. And when you're being honest, you know, this matchup, great opportunity for them to kind of experiment with those things. But I also think, though, to a greater extent, and the point that we were saying here earlier, G2 wants to make a statement. I think G2 has to make a statement here. Not to discredit Furia by any stretch of the imagination, but I think anything less than like a 13-5, 13-6 for G2 would be like something where they want to dominate.
I mean, even if you just consider like the history of what happened last year with like Sentinels that went on to like win in Madrid, right, in Masters 1, they came back, lost those first few matches, and it was like, oh, it's fine, no, they'll obviously bounce back. But when there's only 5 weeks of season, 5 games, like that moves real quickly. So you can't, you know, slow down and let the present catch up to you.
Agent select here, no changes from G2's Bangkok comp, which was very successful there. The Breach Teo double controller with the Yoru, super comfortable for them.
Yeah, and really, if they intend on making changes later, practicing some stuff behind the scenes to catch out some of the stronger teams.
Whoa, weird.
That is Clove. Double controller with the Clove.
Yeah, so Clove's smoke cooldown went up from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. They have an Omen next to it, which makes it a little better.
Yeah, and Clove has the worst smoke duration in the game, right? You have a less time to have the speed up when you use your C. I mean, I don't know. This is a weird one to see a Clove pick.
And then also you have the Fade with the Breach, but lacking the Teo, which traditionally you have the Death Ball with the Breach Teo Neon. So we'll see how that works out.
Well, folks, our teams are ready to go. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for this one. It's a new duo that we're calling Baby Bren.
Yeah, I'll show you some pictures later of the Baby Brand, you know, that little duo that's kicking off here. But let's get this game started, man. I mean, it's G2 versus Furia. These are two teams with very opposite expectations, I think, for themselves heading into stage 1. G2 coming off the back of being finalists at Bangkok, one of our mass events, and Furia just looking to try and get that map win, essentially, right?
Just trying to win a single
trying to get wins on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be a tough ask as well, right?
Yeah.
I think if you're G2, you couldn't have asked for a better opponent, all things considered, you know, off of that grueling loss that you had. I mean, the trials and tribulations.
Ease in.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
Good. And if you're Furia, I mean, everything's working against you right now. You lost a phenomenal mechanical talent in MW, and now you're here left to your devices against runners-up.
That's going to be difficult.
It's tough, but we are going to be on Lotus here. And
it's time for that Samsung match start as well. Load up fast with the Samsung SSDs, and we are starting on Lotus, like you said.
Yes.
Hell of a record for G2.
Oh, they haven't dropped this since America's Stage 2 finals last year. And they also played against EDG, who ran this composition in Thailand. So, I mean, maybe Furia saw something. I do like where they're leaning towards with these role swaps. I mean, he's so good on that duelist role. We've seen it before. He's talked in interviews how that's his most comfortable role. He's kind of like a pseudo-duelist here.
Yeah, you can be second one in, playing off the space that your team creates on the Clove.
Yeah.
As you already said as well, you know, Bangkok, you get given that blueprint. Many ways to play the game, a lot of compositions that were tested, fleshed out. EDG playing this one.
Yeah.
Why not copy it? Save some time, and they're going to go for it. Straight into C. There's an open side. G2 willing to give this one up.
Yeah, and this is the benefit of G2's compositions and the chemistry that they have on these retakes. They have so much utility to flood in. They're so comfortable giving all this space. And with no one dropping early, Furia, they're going to have to press the issue.
Smoke going to face a Jonah P. Absorbs the flash up. G2 are comfortable here into this spot, trying to play this retake now. No missteps. 5v5 and a full fight occurring. Off onto the flank here. Khalil needs to win that fight out, and he does just that. Okay, dominant positions here from Furia. They claim to the site. They claim to a couple of bodies as well. G2, love to see if Trent can pick up these pieces. He's making a decent go over here, but confidence on show. That's a 3-piece from Rafa to seal up the pistol round.
And that's a strong start for Furia on the attacking side. I like the way that they approached the entire round, playing a nice contact style on C, sniffing out where the retake was being played, but it was the post plant for me, Brent, that was so interesting because everybody was playing in. Yeah, Khalil was holding the flank by himself, but they're clearly here to try to disrupt. I wonder now for G2 if they identified that already, if Valyn knows, okay, they're playing on site, let's just bombard the entire site with all our utilities. That's what makes Teo and the Breach so powerful combined, but everyone is geared up towards A. It's going to be a brawl.
G2 offloading a ton of util off the rip here. It's not an eco round of their own, but guns in the hand of the Furia players will be able to navigate through most of it here. And G2, when they play this composition, they don't opt into these all-in rubble fights too often. They usually go for these re-clears a little bit later, but it's an eco round. Throw something new into the mix.
Yeah, just try to catch anybody off guard. Right now, a pause to the round, something very common that teams like to do when they're up numbers. They don't want to let this one slip away. But proactivity now in front B. It's going to be a wraparound. No one is looking here quite yet.
No Sentinel with his Furia comp. A couple of eyes on it. Khalil is watching, but he's the one on 3 HP. Smoke's dropped down as well. Weak as anything. Just waiting for the time to strike here. Beautiful precision by Khalil. Still in the danger zone though. His team just umming and ahhing for now as well. Salvos lay it down, push them back and away. Death by 1,000 cuts if you are G2 here, but they're just trying to make it nice and awkward for Furia.
Any type of damage now would be good for the side of G2. That's why you see Leaf also slowly creeping all the way back here, rotating from that C site. And if they could get this Bulldog out of the hands of Heat, maybe trying to isolate him here. He's too sharp though.
Yeah. Just locks onto it. They know exactly where Leaf was about in the general round here. So all navigated quite nicely, as we were saying. I mean, there could have been danger there when Furia were just going into the A-Rubble fight, but 4 survive.
Yeah, stuffing that first fight, and maybe this is what we're going to see in future rounds, the power of the Neon. You can kind of breeze past some of that utility.
Yeah.
But like you did say earlier, G2 play that more reactive, re-clearing type of style with the Breach and the Tejo. I'd be very interested in this bonus round to see what Furia can cook up. If they can catch G2 off guard, because they did save 4 of those rifles in the round, a Stinger on prize. And they're geared up towards B.
Exactly. Bit of pace, potentially ordered up here. It's a nice little fault line, sets him up early. Valor on top of it, Havoc straight in there. Stuns ricocheting this way and that. It's a bit of a handshake, and it's getting these G2 players straight back in for an attempt. Potentially to flood straight back in. That's Prize who steps up to that challenge instantly with the trade-off once more and a triple face. And it's all Furia winning this out. Defeat filled up with red entirely. And they're drenching the sight in it on top of it. Leaf, he's left alone now in a 1v2. Players are low enough. Single shot with the Outlaw. Can make something of this one. A rapid pivot here from these Furia players to be able to get that open sight. Access to the A.
Leaf did get an upgrade into this as well, so he can slowly creep in. I mean, he has been clutch in the past for this G2 squad. The star player in stage 1 for them. We saw the work he could do on Chamber. I mean, any character doesn't matter. Is he ready to face Heat?
Oh my, no way. Reset! Marafa's watchful eye from on high. God almighty, what a beginning for Furia. This is 3 rounds in a row.
A phenomenal start, right? You couldn't ask for anything better, and they caught G2 off guard. That's going to be the name of the game if they want to get a map win or even a series win against this G2 roster. That pace, that full pace towards that B site, just overwhelming everybody. The retake is something normally G2 are very good at, but a little bit of a slow start here from some of the lads on that squad.
It's a Furia team as well that, you know, there was a lot of interviews going around, I think, heading into stage 1. Furia struggling to find their identity. The GM as well, Luke Zero was talking about, it was a translated interview, so maybe some pieces getting missed in it. But talking about how, like, he was kind of thinking that their issue was focusing more, you know, they needed to be focusing on their FPS fundamentals, less so like utility combos. And that was receiving the ire from a decent chunk of the community for good reasons. But I'm not seeing that here. It's good util to clear through, just making sure that they make the right motions so far onto Lotus, a map where G2 have been dominant at.
Yeah, like I said, haven't dropped it since last year in a final. But yeah, you're totally right about the way that Furia are approaching this. It's not really this full force forward. We're peaking everything. They're actually playing as a more cohesive unit than what we've seen in the past. And good ideas. I mean, even freezing rounds when they're up numbers. They've had some decent utility usage themselves on that B execute. Everybody is gearing up here towards that A. Heat. He took all that free space after the C default. And with only Sheriffs to the name, I mean, Jaw is going to have to hit some ridiculous shots here.
Let's catch that contact. It's a pole line used off the back of it. All right. It's going to be Jorgamo who's tested, challenged. The one who has to step all the way up is Decay down to just double digits there. And it's a quick shot to the brain from Havoc. Easing their way into the site here, trying to double up against that high-low. Trent, that's a nasty little two-piece. Just offloading those shots while he's at it, buying a bit of time and space for his team. And this is questionable by Furia. Time is running short and running out entirely. You're moving over to the B side. His access leaves here. He can play spoiler entirely. 7 seconds left. Rafa's going for the plant. Coverage from on high. It was necessary from Heat. It's all handled. It's all managed. It got a little bit scrappy, but it's around nevertheless.
Down to the wire, planning the spike with 8 seconds left. I mean, Leaf, he was smart. He kind of had a read on that. He understands already that Furia have been pivoting from site to site, trying to out-manipulate the rotations of G2. So, I think at this point, we should see a timeout, surely, Brent, from the side of G2. Calm things down a little bit, get back into the swing of things. Doesn't look like we're going to get that yet. Oh, we are.
Yeah.
There it is.
Good call.
G2 timeout. Perfect timing for Josh. Not wanting to let things slip away. I mean, this is the first match back after that grueling loss that everyone's been talking about. I mean, that's rent-free in G2's head here.
Yeah. You would think as well, you're the finals of Bangkok. There shouldn't be a lot of nerves coming into this opening matchup when it's, lopsided on paper, right, I suppose, in terms of the groups. Everybody's expecting Furia to not be doing too hot. G2 should be the top of their group entirely. So you would think confidence would be sky high, but when you have that upset of expectations, where Furia coming into this with almost nothing to lose, because everyone's expecting them to lose, it makes things a little bit different, honestly. The pressure is completely off their shoulders, at least it should be, if you're one of those players playing up on the stage. And for G2, everyone's really expecting that perfection from them, and sometimes that can cause these issues, these weaknesses. So an early correction called for with the timeout.
And how do you stop Heat, who's just been having a heater of a game so far? He's 6-1 on the Clove. This is why they adapted to this composition. This is why they're playing it now. Havoc, he's had some great entries, creating a lot of space. But the push and pull from the side of Furia, it's looked phenomenal. We haven't seen a level like this out of them yet. And yeah, it's still very early on. We have to keep it in mind, Lotus tend to be favored on the attacking side. But the way that they've been maneuvering around this utility, it's forcing G2 to have to take these early engagements, and they're stuck behind a smoke.
Yeah, big rubble engagement. That push and pull though, like you were talking about, because Furia are given easy access towards C Mound, Khalil. Walkabouts. See if you can get access towards front B just in case.
And, Furia, they just do not care at all. They're just full sending on that C site, using that Breach and Neon fade combo to clear out all that space.
Clearing out all of it. Rafa's going to get the plan to get an ult online on top of it, and this flank that's occurring, triple faced up. Khalil's just watching to the one side of it as well, and a fight called for into the CT point. Heat off to the sides of the corner, not expecting that, and a dodge and a juke off the flash away. Not quite there with a movement, but not dead yet. He's straight back at it with the ult, but he needs some help, and bailout still around the corner. Stun, good connection. Jonah P trying to square up, trying to posture, and luckily it's all in control from the rest of his team onto this side. It leaves it just down to Valyn and Jonah P, side by side, but opposite sides of the map, and lovely movement with the aim. Valyn realizes he got to call it quits and back away once more. This is Furia making all the right moves.
Yeah, this is so sick to watch if you're a Furia fan, especially doing this against G2 players that have been so dominant on this map of Lotus. And they're ready for everything, even holding the flank. After the timeout, the call for Josh was, okay, let's take more space towards that A rebel side of the map, and if they go C, we'll get the flanks in. But they're ready for it. Yeah. Whether it was a pistol round or right here, Heat holding with a rifle, the proactivity and just awareness overall from Furia has been the deciding factor of why they're up 5-0 in this matchup. And they do look like a whole new team. Maybe Prize was the key all along that they needed.
An outside voice.
Yeah, we spoke about it earlier, the outside voice that comes in and just makes everybody stay on the same page.
There's big shoes to fill, trying to replace up MW0 in terms of that mechanical ability, but
the utility has looked great so far.
It has, yeah, they've been doing well to clear.
Another C-mount default. This time, they're just going to all back up, maybe re-clear some of that space at A, but look, off of that pressure alone, you're already seeing a little bit of rotations, a little bit of 80 strafing from the side of G2. Jonah P in that baby door area now, just going back towards Trent. But you just don't have the weapon.
No.
Just don't have the weapons behind it.
A cheeky peek maybe as well, but Util's going to be pushing them back and away. Forcing the respect out of them. Time did become an issue in one of the prior rounds of Furia when they were taking it this cautiously, and G2 are willing to show a bit of disrespect. You can see them already pushing out a C mound.
Yeah.
Why not? You're on a half buy.
Yeah,
Risks need to be taken.
They're slowly surrounding them right now. I mean, if Furia doesn't speed up here and actually take the site, it could be worse for wear, but...
Be dangerous. That's nice. Sharp by Khalil. Gets a handle off onto the flank as well. Cutting up into the corner. Jonah P just can't quite get the second he was looking for.
30 seconds.
So 2v4 and just crosshair placement not on point. He eager to take that engagement. It's beautiful in the moment from Trent. He almost makes magic out of it.
Yeah, Trent's been the only one on the side of G2 that hasn't really looked flat so far. I feel like it's a very, very slow start. I mean, not even having much opportunity to get aim duels in. It just seems like everyone's caught off guard, getting peeked into, or just not really clearing corners from the side of G2. Furia, they came ready to play today.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone looks like they want it really bad. You can just tell by the way that they've been maneuvering around the map. That aim is on point. I'm just not quite sure what G2 can really do. They've tried everything, it seems like. I feel like it has to be the start Lewis here.
And straight away, I mean, they put the operator into Jorgamo's hands, but he's trapped. Rocking a hard place, trying to get the hell out of there. Trent provides some supplementary fire. It's just through the smoke, it looks like, so...
Of course. Havoc saw nothing.
Yeah.
Proactivity now in front B. It will see heat, so now you have to be aware of a potential pivot from this A mount default. But G2 looks like they just want to play retake on that A site. I know they have the advantage. What is that?
Don't get the hell out of here, Heat.
And with that one pick, the entire map is open for play now. Tap of the door as well after that kill. I mean, G2 have no idea what Furia are cooking up right now, and he is a human drone in this moment. Oh my goodness.
Needs to be some clearance of the question marks across the map here, because like I said, G2 are just being locked out. Even Joe considering offloading Dimensional Drift just for a bit of that information. Now Heat has lurked his way all the way into C. TP with a spike in hand. This is Khalil getting himself onto the side with control of it, so they'll be able to get the plant down. Valyn could be a playmaker. Needs to catch this kill here with him versus Prize, and Prize just takes his head clean off. Dimensional Drift. It's in again, it's on a rapid play. Just with the operator in hand, there's not really too much he can do. Armageddon lays the way as well. It's going to be paving a path straight forwards and slowed to a crawl. It's what G2 do best. Util combos, ults on ults. The Nightfall is going to be offloaded. An attempt to upend this site control, but this time G2 have got their way in through the positions. Slow siege from them. Tucked up onto the corner. Shots are still hitting. Rattled off. Few misses inside. Trends on for a 4-piece. Potentially the ace round to the corner. Prize has just taken out Jorgamo. No surprises, and Trent's left to do it all. Stick of a half is necessary, but he's not going to be able to get it done. Red Ball clutch for Prize. This newcomer into this Furia roster. Essentially, not even by potentially choice of Furia. I mean, they were looking for an initiator replacement. They had to opt into Prize because he had a visa, essentially, and he's pulling off stuff like this.
It's unbelievable. Even with that entry, okay, we thought it was through a smoke. He got a glimpse of him right before, but Prize even clearing out Valyn in that front B engagement. I mean, you think Valyn's gonna win that for sure. And it looked like Valyn was aware, but it just doesn't matter. The mechanical talent of Furia right now is just outshining the strategy of G2. We saw the protocols in effect. I mean, if it was retake A, we would have seen the same breach ult combo with that Tejo ultimate combined. This time around, it's at that C, and we get 2 with it. But the post plant was too strong from the side of Furia, and this is the second time out now for G2. I mean, this is it. You got to dig deep if you want to bring this one back. This is your map pick. You're world beaters on this map. You even took out T1 in Thailand.
Someone's going to miss. That's the second time out now for G2. You can feel it's the panic button, essentially, at this point. You're in the first half, and I mean, it needs to be the case. 7 rounds in a row here for Furia on a map where G2 have been dominant at, when the expectations could not be more different. I mean, we went into this series talking about how G2, it should be a nice easy one, like a nice warm bath, right?
Everyone thought that.
Exactly, get back into stage 1, and for Furia, they're just looking to get that map win on the board with their roster that isn't just a bunch of mercenaries coming in to play for them because they didn't have their visas in time.
But here we go. It's going to be a complete A brawl right here. Can the Neon surpass all the utility from the Teo and Breach?
Oh, Havoc's blinded up though. His missiles at his feet. Another fault line is delayed. It's that second wave and hit. And look at it, full blinded. The spray control, miraculous. It's beautiful. And yes, it was the weaker buy by G2, but this is pure confidence on display now.
I mean, just bullying G2. Straight up bullying them. But the utility behind these fights from Furia has been so impressive, though, for a team that, you know, kind of relied on a lot of contact style and just aim dueling at kickoff.
Last player standing.
They've done their due diligence, and
oh, they certainly have. I mean, this is just a sweep, isn't it, at this point?
Yeah, 8-0 against G2.
Yeah, you're kidding me.
I mean, this is a Cinderella story. And he still at the top, 10-4, Prize, the newcomer. He's right there with them. But look at the follow-up utility. I mean, even the Breach C as well, the paranoia, everything. And then the trading is on point. What a change of pace, too, because traditionally on the anti-eco rounds for Furia, they've kind of been a little bit more cautious, kind of been seeing if there's been any type of aggression. This time, just taking the fight straight against those weaker guns. And let's see if this operator from Jojimo can actually get some value this time around.
This is 4 players to G2 looking to try and put a stop to this one. Finally, Havoc stopped in his track, still off to the side as an off angle of Khalil, and still layering down with these bullets as Price side by side over the shoulder. G2 thought they had an advantage. They wanted to try and take this one all the way, but they're the ones hurting at the end of the day. It's a player disadvantage now for them. Trent, left to see what he can do. Wall's going to be dropping soon enough. Pause called for.
Yeah, and with Leaf taking all the C-mount space, no reason for the G2 members not to double up here. I think if they get a little too antsy, though, and walk into the crosshairs of Furia, that is the disadvantage. But they have nobody checking front B, so Trent, he's got to do this back and forth. Hope he doesn't get timing. The re-clear of the drone will give good info now, though.
Yeah, you spot 2, you know exactly where most of the players are going to be holding, but time is of the essence. Util, wall goes up, though, as they're trying to take the refight there. It's a bit of mis-coordination, communication there. Open door, straight in through into the site now. Smoke dropped down. It's up to Valyn to put a stop to this one. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
So much utility still on the play for Furia. And this fault line's going to come out. You have the Breach C as well. And he can be the human drone to entry in here as well.
Aftershock's good. Any foresight here with Khalil being dropped as well. A bit of spam straight into the smoke. This is good from G2. It's what they needed in the moment here. It's uncomfortable now. 28 seconds remaining. An attempt to clear this guy. Pesky problem. The Valyn is. This is it. It's desperation, and there's no time left to win. Trent all just needs to play his life, and it's a round. The one has eluded them up until this point, but finally, under the belt.
And it's all because of Valyn, honestly. The way that he played around his smokes towards that A site, Omen TPing in the back of sight, getting all the way to drop. He delayed so much time on that clock. Leaf winning the head-to-head against Khalil as well. So finally, some signs of life for G2. They were losing that flank battle every single time. Wow. Maybe now confidence getting back into their hands. I mean, he's even shocked that they won the round, which is craziness. But yeah, Valyn, the IGL stepping up huge for G2 right when they needed it the most. If they can string back a couple more rounds together, give themselves a shot on that attacking side. That's all they could ask for.
Alec's got to be careful here. That's 140.
Yeah, he's tagged up
Straight to the chest. He's going to offload the ult.
Yeah, and that's very interesting, too, because now it just feels like you're so weak. You know you got tagged. They could just smother you, spam through the smoke, anything, utility. You could drop, but it's not going to be the case. It's going to be a fight towards this A side of the map. A lot of util being exchanged.
The tangle out towards it. It's a good flash as well, though. Valyn set up nicely. Nearsighted, stun at your feet. It's getting a bit awkward, but still G2 maintaining control and watchful positions and a watchful eye of Jorg. No more funny business from Heat. He's been slipping into all sorts of gaps, and they double hold this one all the way up. One left to stand. It's just Prize up against it, rattling off these shots, but yeah, making it nice and awkward. Trent is not far behind his teammate. Second one up, building it up, and if they get 4, there's potential here for G2. You gotta think it might be enough.
Yeah, it's doable. It's attack side, Lotus, you know, you have the double controller, you can, you know, manipulate rotations like Valyn likes to do, but this time, again, ready for everything. The Heat's not getting away with those shenanigans of going solo contact style on the opposite side of the pack. They're more aware now, G2, of that style, that 4-1 approach. The util for util was won this time around for G2. Furia taking their first time out, maybe just trying to cut out some of that momentum that G2 is starting to accumulate, because that was a clean round that they just won.
At this point, it feels like to me, though, that G2 have got a bit of a read in terms of how Furia want to play.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, I mean, they're catching the heat lurks as well. A lot more of these fights that are occurring, it almost felt early on like G2 were just getting pulled into the fights constantly, trying to always re-clear this space when you can just let Furia run down the clock. They're not really doing anything with that time. They're waiting it out quite often.
And that's the reason why G2 won that first round that they did.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with a team like G2 who's so decorated, they've been through like every single type of scenario you can envision. One of the most decorated teams in VALORANT right now. I mean, you give them one round win, that's just enough to spark a fire in all those players to really bring it all the way back.
I mean, they've been in positions like this before.
I mean, I'm remembering casting in Shanghai a 10-2 comeback.
Yeah.
Heretics beat them 10-2 on their attack. They come back on Ascent defense, win it out. I mean, they have grit. That's for certain. And now let's see if there's a change of pace from the side of Furia. But it looks like there's going to be a neon towards this A side of the map. Maybe some faint utility towards C. Furia.
It's very
really
slow.
Slowing down the pace. Still showing the Prowler at C, though, trying to get Heat to get all that free space. Maybe you can take a 1v1 as the main pack of players take this fight against Trent.
It's a stun to defeat a Trent. He's under a lot of pressure. Can't quite win that fight out as well. Dodging and juking most of the util. That is just instinctual by Havoc. He knows that the door's going to be open towards Blue Room. Bit of spam. Earns him that reward.
And this time, instead of freezing, they're opting to just push the pace, take control of that entire A site. They don't want to get surrounded and run down that clock. So a good adaptation from Furia off of that timeout as well. And this retake for G2, it's going to be so hard. So much is riding on the 1v1s.
A 3v5 is the first one to be taken. Okay, a little bit unlucky there for Prize. Maybe, but Heat is right behind you. And guess what? Oh, Leaves lucky to be alive. He wants to try and take this fight out, and why not? You've got to try and remove some of these problems, but it's a rapid go ahead. G2, they call for it. Paranoia, skirt this way forwards, a lot of damage done to these players, but you can't count G2 out, not just yet. Jorgamo is already onto this spike, onto this defuse on top of it. That's half, and he's sticking it all the way. Kills to be found, out and wide. And there's that attempt as well, finally swinging through and true. Furia, they win out that round on round 11.
Last round in the half.
Just the numbers game at that point for Furia. I mean, yeah, Heat almost did some whiffing right there, but it's just too tough. Too many angles to look at. When that Neon ultimate is popped, I mean, you could just shoot it anywhere in that smoke. You know you're going to connect on somebody and just not ready. Look at that entry again from Havoc, like you said. I mean, G2 have been breaking that door most of the rounds here on their defensive side, so why not take some pop shots there? You might get lucky, and they did just that. You get the numbers advantage, press the issue. A is the focus.
Yeah. This is the focus. Salvo's fault line committed as util, though, saved up into the back pockets of these G2 players. Spike drone off and around to the side. That's a good connection at that, but how do you choose to refight this one? It's been slowed down. Waiting for the timing. Hold on. Forget about a util. Guns in hand. Just try and make the most of it. Valyn! That's what the team needed. The IGL to step up.
I love the reactive utility as well from Jonah P right there. That fault line coming through. Yeah, Valyn didn't need it, but this is what we know G2 to be. Multiple steps in their protocols. I think he actually caught a glimpse of Trent there on the fallback. I mean, a 2v5 would be ridiculous to close out the half. Such a tough ask. Heat. See if anybody gives him a 1v1.
Yeah, it's looking unlikely though.
Spike's so far away now. I mean, I think Jaw also saw him on a jiggle as well. But yeah, Valyn, the IGL, he's been stepping up huge in these rounds. I mean, he was negative, I think, 6 or 7 at one point. Now he's 11 and 11 on the scoreboard.
Potential ace on the cards as well if you can find this one. Hunting.
Oh, he's got it.
Sniffing out Heat. Caught the timing as well. Back to the wall. And there it is. iBuyPower ace here. Giving away $100 in Riot gift cards and $100 in iBuyPower rewards with every single ace. Make sure you follow iBuyPower on socials and using the hashtag UnlockYourAce.
I mean, Valyn, he stepped up, he stopped the bleeding. Who other than the IGL who wants it the most? Now, G2, they still have a chance, but a lot is going to be riding on that pistol round. And Furia, with the way that they've been looking mechanically in this series so far, might pose some big problems.
If they come into this one well prepped as well. It's at round 13 that all eyes are on, and we're going to be finding out just how they handle it.
Oof, stuck paying for that old phone? Don't be. You know, at Verizon, we'll pay off your phone. And you'll get iPhone 16 on us. That's a value of up to $1,600, only on Verizon.
The second half is going to be underway here. Round 13 for this pistol round. All eyes upon it because for a team like G2, with an abundance of experience that they've been in positions like this before. They've been down and out. For Furia, honestly, the impetus for them, I think, is going to be trying to lock up this pistol round. Make sure you don't give any ins whatsoever for this G2 squad. Despite the scoreline being 9-3, there's a reason we're layering on this much respect under the name of G2.
Yeah, you have to put the nail in the coffin here if you're Furia. This pistol round win is so massive for them to close out their first map of this year's VCT. And right now, with this composition of G2, they're going to play this slow approach a lot. Try to understand where Furia are liking to use that breach utility, where that neon might be. Leaf is the sole person holding all this space at A. There's 3 members that are looking to get active from the side of Furia. I mean, if G2 even make an inkling of sound towards the C mound, I think you're going to see a fast speed up from the side of Furia to get a quick flank. The fault line does come out to take all that C mount control, but look, it looks like G2 are so scared of a trap play.
Yeah, and you can see it, like the tap debate out. As you mentioned, very worried about the potential of it with Furia's composition. Leaf spots it, catches the contact with the Prowler on top of it, so he knows there's at least 2 forward in that position towards A. Rubble. The call is made now by G2, making their way back over. Creeping and crawling though, up behind the wall, and now an explosion of util to make sure they can clear up A. Rubble, take control of it. At the 40-second mark.
Brent, Furia have done their homework right here. They baited out so much of that utility, and now they get to go second. Delaying even further. I mean, that time is running down low, 30 seconds. It will be a pivot towards this B site for the side of G2. A good call, but is Rafa going to use his utility here to delay for long enough?
Slows it down. Yeah, it definitely slows it down. It catches a bullet into the head as part of the process, but Trent are going to be able to get a plant down. Just enough time onto the clock for this one, and call is made to step forwards as well. Take control of a bit of these avenues out towards B, make it a bit less uncomfortable here for G2. Paranoia is primed. Valyn is holding this one ready, and as soon as they see it, util flying forwards, and Jorgamo, he bites, pounces straight onto his prey, and this guy is now unleashed. Every position accounted for. Prize reveals his hand with just that haunt. Takes up control of this one, but with Trent being taken out, hold on. Main needs to be accounted for. Being cleaned up ever so slightly, but Prize has got a hell of a task still yet to do. It's a 1v2, and he doesn't know where these players are at all. Joey wants to take that point, take that contact, and a pistol round win now for G2.
And I got a little bit scared for G2 in this moment. I think that the way that Furia approached it, basically just not biting into all that C mound utility used by G2 to take that space and staying on this A stack. I mean, I thought they painted the picture perfectly in their head, but the proactivity in the post plant is what the difference maker was. Jogamo getting really active in this round with that utility. Once they take control of all that water space, you saw Valyn primed and ready with that Paranoia to set up Jogamo. And if he starts getting on a heater right now, I mean, he's one of the best duelists in the world. It will be an A default here. Another 4-1.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 players are furious, so some level of danger. G2 are going to hope to sniff out at least some of it. They're not making any noise. They're worried, of course, about potential trap plays. There's a lot of util that Furia have with this composition.
And this is the cool thing about the Yoru, right? Like, you can bait out stacks like this with your clone, with the fact that you can use your TP.
Gatecrash fades.
Yeah, gets the second one back up though. Tap of Fedora to see some reactions. It is that paranoia.
Yeah, pulls it all the way out, and there it is, straight onto the angles. They're just wading into him. Handing all sorts of Jorgemon. There's an orb as well. Why not pluck it off the floor? Get yourself your dimensional drift for the bonus round. But this is the danger that we were talking about. You cannot count a team like G2 out. You already know they're going to be cooking up all sorts of ideas for their bonus round on how to use the dimensional drift. Get the most out of it for the next.
Oh yeah, which strat are they going to pick out of the big playbook that they have? I mean, it could be any single one of them. That's how deep their strat book runs. And what a good default from G2. I mean, we set it up perfectly. They needed to sniff out if there was a stack. I mean, and there was. But Jogamo just holding his ground, holding his angle with that Guardian. Hitting every single shot. And now it just feels almost like Furia on the back foot. It feels like there's been complete control over the entire map for the side of G2 in these last 2 rounds. And yeah, it's still early in this half.
Here.
But if Furia start to get active and G2 win based off of that, I mean, you're running dry on what you can do to close this map out.
Yeah.
Remember,
and it feels a little bit odd, right, that we're talking about this as a concept when it's 9 to 5. You'd think we would be talking about, you know, Furia, okay, well, G2's in a lot of trouble, but the trouble is the caliber of G2. We're going to go on a bit of a glazing sesh, aren't we? Because we've seen what this team can do in the past. They're composed. They know what it takes to win from spots like this, and Furia really quite new to it, honestly, in terms of being able to close out maps.
Mm-hmm. Maybe this A fight can be what it takes to win this gun round for Furia. Get ever so slightly closer. But I mean, G2, they're just so ready for this. They're so reactionary. Okay, we understand. You use the fault line. We heard Neon. We saw the paranoia. We're going to take space elsewhere. I do like the clove smoke at the same time from the side of Furia, though, to delay that C mount control. But there's that dimensional drift that you were speaking about. I mean, this is getting so much info.
It is. It's cleared the way all the way out through C mount. He's going to look to see if he can avoid it, but I think, yeah, just spotted by Jorgemon. It's hot on his heels. Entirety of side control going to be given up now. Taken. Deep flash on top of it. Here's the plan from Jonah P. Needs to be a defense in order, but he's got it onto the corner, so the spam's not hitting. But Furia do have 5 alive, ready to set up now. A lot to clear, though.
Yeah, I mean, now we get to see, are Furia good in the retake? Do they have the correct set of protocols, the correct set of utility to flush all these players out that are in mound?
Doors opened, Haunt up and over towards the top leaf, my god! It's target practice. The doors opened up wide here, but a double face off through into the back of the site. Still, time is ticking, and guess what? Util held out into these hands, but Util does not care when there's gunplay. Into the hands of Havoc. Ripping him a new one, but still he just can't quite do it, man. He did manage to get half as a potential win con prize with the tap, but Trent with the swing, and that's our bonus round conversion.
Just too much utility. I mean, this is the benefit of running the Yoru. When you use his ultimate, you get the site for free. They didn't have to invest anything else into that. You had everything for the post plant. And at the pace that Furia were doing that retake, it doesn't matter if you can shoot everybody in the head. The Teho missiles are going to be enough. The breach C from Jonah P is going to be enough.
That time delay, right? How long they took to actually get into that retake.
No, it was way too slow.
Nice, boys!
If you're Furia, you're going to have to do a fast flood.
What are they doing opening the door on me?
The confidence is back in the hands of Leaf and the rest of G2. As they take a little bit more space here at that A site, that Viper wall can cut off so much to safely want you to walk up, clear out these angles. Bit of a drop.
I'm into the box. Wait up. Okay, I'm into delayed with the paranoia and Jorgemon. That's what you were talking about earlier when you played a Yoru. You're afforded the ability to play forwards, straight back to safety.
Even those Teo missiles used by Trent right there.
Oh, that's a nasty one. Okay.
I don't know how he did that.
Yeah,
honestly,
he's pulling
with a
that
stinger.
one out.
Are you kidding me? This is good. This is the best gun in the game.
Apparently.
I mean, with the evening of numbers right there, it kind of feels like you're smothered for G2. You kind of have to send it A. That's why you see rotations on the minimap right now from Furia. It's going to be a stack here. A lot is going to ride on Leaf in this moment.
Try to find these. I mean, there's so much util up into your face. His prize, though. He pounces, he strides Khalil off into the side as well. It's that 1-2 punch and that combination, but Leaf, he's right back at you. straight in through the back of the side. He's making sure you can salvage this entire operation, and Trentnoff still needs to get this plant down. Squared up to the fight. Heat. He's got to do it all with just a Bucky and a Classic in hand. It's looking potentially doable. Takes the swing, takes the fight. They know exactly where he is, though, and Leaf, that is pure composure. Rifle in hand. Swatting away the Furia players.
And if Leaf gets taken down there early on by somebody in that broken door area or somebody flanking, I mean, that is not able to happen. The fact that he's the sole guy running through main while everybody else is going through door is what gets him these free kills to get the trades on site that were necessary to close out this round. I mean, just protecting the spike planner as well in this moment. A huge step up. Back-to-back impactful rounds for Leaf. And it's the last time out now from the side of Furia. Nothing really working for them. Yeah, they found Valyn in that moment, but that's kind of like a one-off kill, I feel like. I feel like most of the time, G2 would have been favored, Valyn would have been favored in that exchange, so this is the comeback.
It is.
I mean, this is tough now for Furia. All of a sudden, you were up, what, 8-0 at one point, or 8-1? The score is now 9-7, Brent.
Yeah.
And now in your brain, you just feel like you can't do anything right.
Just string of rounds. This is the most important one here for Furia. But investment with the buy.
And what can you really do, though? Are you going to, try to change the pace, try to just full run it down against G2? You can't really do that because they have protocols in place for that. We've already seen that. That was the Teo missiles that I was talking about earlier off the tap of the door. I mean, Trent had a protocol for the tap of the door. They do. I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous.
What are we talking about here? Such high-level play from G2 on this attacking side to crawl back into things.
Furia at least do have potentially a Nightfall to work with here. Looks like in terms of the stack of the bodies. Doubled up out towards C-Mound. One way in their face. Havoc is looking to try and take that fight as flashes. Straight up G2, pure disrespect. Popping around. That's Jorgamo though. He's straight back to safety. TP'd back. They were looking for that pull of util. Forcing Furia to reveal their hands in a defensive setup. And guess what? We're going to go the other way.
Yeah, and now all you really have to use on that retake is that Fade Ultimate, like you said. So a great bait out of utility from the side of G2. The Yoru and the Omen getting so much value there in that C area. And they want to double dip back into this. I mean, but Havoc, he hasn't left.
No. He might have to be a stalwart defender of the site. An opening kill here from Havoc would really do them wonders. So much to account for though, and there it is. And Clone over the top as well, he's just getting a bit flustered. Has to respect that space and give it up here with 45 seconds left. Leaves holding off to the side. They want to go back over towards A.
And it's the right call, but I think it was heard by Heat. He for sure heard some running back, but I mean, everyone's still here stacked at
30
C.
seconds, doors opened up. Heat's going around, he's cleared the space here, so now, yeah, Furia are aware of this.
Cover going out.
Different kind of challenge now. It's all on Khalil. Doors open wide. That's going to be sending out that paranoia. He's the one who's going to put a stop to this one. There's only 17 seconds left. Salvos. Sliders and gaps to play in here. The Nightfall on top of it. It's all going to be layered. Furia, they can put a stop to this here and now, but it comes down to the shots. Comes down to that firepower. G2 though, still committed, still sticking it. And what a spray transfer from Prize to pit drop down. Last line of defense here. Leaf weaving in and out into that 1v1. Him versus Heat. Steps himself in. Decay kicking in. And he's got to try and sniff this guy out entirely, but Leaf is already back to safety. Drops his way back. So much to clear. It's a game of timings, and Heat is not favored. Time still ticking. Smoke dropped, blooms, blossoms, damage done! But maintains that composure, and Heat more than enough time to get it done.
1 HP the entire way through that Viper's Pit. But this might be the power of the Clove that Furia needed. This is why they're putting Heat on this character, is because he can play like a duelist. He can clutch rounds out like this for you. And I mean, Leaf, he's had so much impact in the last 3 rounds. But what more can he do? It has to be more players stepping up to the plate for him in this moment. The time ran down way too low for G2 to get comfortable on this site. And Prize, the newcomer to this Furia roster, he's looked great so far. That transfer.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was this mechanically talented when I was watching him play on 2G.
No.
He's sitting at the top, 16 and 11.
16 and 11, and we were talking about it. Big shoes to fill, but so far, stepping up despite these big heroics of G2. And Furia, they finally break that momentum that G2 were just accruing up.
He's been playing so on the edge here at this B door. I mean, look at how aggressive he's playing. But another bait of utility from G2. This time, nobody taking any chip damage whatsoever. But already look at the mini-map. Players on Furia are moving towards that A site. Everything that G2 has shown so far has been like the previous round. Are they going to use that to their advantage?
George straight in there, man. You missed him. Oh, he missed the corner potentially, but he's going to be spotting this at least. He knows it from the UI. 2 players spotted out. It's given a feel like this could be setting up for a bit of a B hit, but the rest of the players in through onto A. Pivot options available. Khalil spotted out wide. That's a full access. Open side, open plant now on towards A for G2 with player advantage, and it just keeps building up.
Leaf is so sharp on this site, and the post plant just feels like it's just going to be too clean.
It's taken over.
Yeah, I think you just go for a save right now if you're Furia. If you want to try to get some exits, maybe, but if you look at the money, I mean, you don't have any at this point. The rounds have been very close.
I mean, if he saved that gun, maybe he could have bought for somebody, but he takes the fight anyway.
Yeah, feeling a little bit too antsy there. I know he won that 1v1. He feels hot. He wants it. But he's going to wish he would have had that in a future round. Maybe could have had something going for him. And G2, I mean, yeah, they're willing to hunt for this. They've got that spike planted with so much time left in the round. Doesn't look like they're actually going to meet any players here from the side of Furia, but a good answer back. Another conversion on Jogamo's ultimate on that Yoru. And the strat book runs deep with that. It gives you so much information. And again, Leaf, he's at the top right now. 15 and 12 for him. He's been getting so many impactful 1v1 kills to open up this attacking side.
Leaf's lurks as well. He's constantly getting control of deep A main with no reclear from Furia. And Furia don't have timeouts to identify this, to try and reflect and think about it. But it's been the #1 thing causing them issues. And here's a turn of events, though. Going for the A rubble fight.
Yeah, and it's because of what you said. He's getting too much value. They have to deny it now. But now G2 have the option to speed up C if they wish.
Spotting it. Not a huge amount of util thrown out, but he sees Havoc taking the contact forward. So G2, they don't call for a fast pivot to try and take control over towards C.
Yeah, that clove smoke delayed that. But again, the layers to the approach of G2's attack. I mean, utility being held out. No one's up close that they saw jump spotting, so now it's going to be that stealth drone to get info.
Drone down, flash into your face. Khalil in trouble. That's the suppression in through the back as well. No getting out of that one, but Jogamo draws a line in the sand as well. Doesn't choose to step and cross back over it. So the attempt to re-clear rubble control didn't really go the way of G2.
Yeah. And right now, Havoc rotating off that A side after he showed those stuns there, but it's going to be brute force right now for G2. They have to take space now. That time is running low again.
Again. He's finding these openings, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And shutting down Leaf is a big one. He's been the major playmaker. Rolling Thunder now going to be used to cleave its way in through towards the A side, but Havoc is willing to fill in the gaps in the defense, but it's a pivot option. Call forward, the door open wide, and Rafa dropped. B open for the taking. It's a squeeze occurring. Furia, they do have players in every single avenue, but with Heat being dropped, it's all running out for them. Havoc doesn't know what to expect. Layers upon layers here by G2. You think you've got them cornered, you think you've got them trapped. And it doesn't matter, man. They've got a handle on the round regardless.
Yeah. That was the play from the start, the double lurk B. Valyn walking in for free after all that A utility was made. And now, yeah, you have to retake with one Sheriff, one Phantom. I mean, Prize is just going to hold on to this one for the next round. And even a Paradoia still in play. Oh, I mean, just clean work from G2. Great job manipulating.
Just not letting it get out, are they?
Look at all the utility. I mean,
it will get down to the spike, though, in the end here. This is G2. One more round away from making it nice and even, 10-10 on this map. A scenario that we really didn't expect.
Not at all.
To be honest.
Not at all.
Credit for Furia for getting it to this point, but as we've been mentioning, the hardest part is closing it out.
Oftentimes the difference maker from what makes a good team a great team. Can you actually close out maps when you have advantage? They still have it here. And Ultimate's coming back online for Furia. You have that Breach Ultimate, you have Clove Ultimate. The problem is I mean, Heat's here on an island at sea. And there's a lot of members of G2 that are going to give him a problem.
And waiting for the time that G2 will just disrespect it. Smoke dropped down. They're still worried about the potential of a trap play, for good reason. This time, though, Havoc is purely disrespecting. Jump spot baits out a few of these shots. They want to take it one step further. It's a risky gambit to try and overfight.
So could utility use the re-clear that close angle as well? And last time around when util was used like this from G2, Furia gave all of that A space like they are now. But everything rides on Prize right now.
Yeah, narrowly missing this one. That's it. Up close and personal with the Prowler. Snake bites, ricocheting back and around here. The Seize is a good connection, so Leaf's going to be dropped and tucked here. And Heat gone walkabouts. Him and Rafa making sure that they can vacuum and take back up control. Door open wide and Leaf accounted for. Still, appropriate response there. Valyn was eager to try and see if he could get that trade online, but just calling for that full rotation. Trent has been lurking all the while. Door still patched up. No open avenue on towards the blue room with the door open wide though. Tucks close quarters. Khalil will try and make the most of it. Jorgamo just disrespected him. Running them down. Shorty in hand. It's an Armageddon in through the back of the site. That will give them that peace of mind. Rolling Thunder used right back at it, but it's just delayed in terms of the timing. It doesn't deny the plan at all. G2 still into the post with this one. It's up to Furia to see if they can put the squeeze on. They've got a lot of positions accounted for. Rafa's alone up through heaven. His flanking players got to do the work here. Layers down the fault line to try and help them out. Catching these players, but still not catching it close to the corner. No swings in sight. Trent still locking it down. It's a beautiful angle. Crosshair placements there. Bit of spam in order. Not dead yet. Right back into it, but dominating the angles into these smokes. Valyn in control of the round. 10-10.
Valyn definitely in control, closing that post plan out, but it was Jogamo with that ridiculous shot with the shorty in the smoke. I mean, how does he always get value doing these things while he's jumping around the map? It's ridiculous. Look at this.
Wow.
There's no reason he should be winning that. He's just him. Busting open the site. And now, it's an even game. A fight towards this A site. Money is terrible from the side of Furia. All G2 have to do is wait out this utility. Go second. They'll have full advantage.
Second wave of it. Never go with a refight. Off wide to the side. That's Trent over the top as well. Happy to plug Khalil straight out the picture. Havoc matters into his own hands, but he's being swung right from the side there. G2 not giving up this space so easily. The difficulty with it, as you mentioned at the beginning, just scraps to work with on the side of Furia.
And even the little things, right? Like Jonah P grabbing that orb, getting one step closer to that breach ultimate for the next gun round. No tides left unchecked. So patient with it. There's not much you can do right now from the side of Furia. Yeah, these smokes help you get closer. Maybe that Bucky and Stinger can get a little bit more value now. But the firepower from the side of G2, they could just spray through these smokes if they wish.
They got salvos, they got a stun. Rafa's gonna be able to get half at least, but he's slowed to a crawl and obliterated. Trying to make it just that much more winnable. Heat's left to do it all again with just nothing to work with. Just straight shots fired off. This is G2 taking the lead.
Oh my gosh. It was a long time coming, but they finally did it, huh?
Yeah.
And the way they went about it, just full composure. Not letting things slip away, still playing that reactive style, still manipulating the rotations, baiting out utility this entire half. And that opens up a lot of opportunities now to get this map win for G2. I mean, if they haven't really held the W key once off the start, I mean, if they ever decided to change the pace, you imagine Furia would not be ready for that.
Yeah. Slow and steady, that cautious, disciplined style that G2 opt into. Flash again, it's dodged in time by Havoc. Crosshair placement. When he's trying to dodge and juke all those flashes coming his way, it's not going to be set steady. Still, containing Leaf, this guy has been a bit of a menace. So it evens it up. Nice 4v4.
And the map is now a little bit smaller for the side of G2. That's why you see Jogamo here trying to compensate, trying to get some of that space back. Otherwise, it's just too obvious where you're going to be ending up here. There was a jump spot I saw on the mini-map as well from the side of Prize. Seeing 3 members. Will it matter?
That's a lot of pressure. I mean, Prize just whiffs the seas as a result of it. Door open wide. That's Heat seeking to relieve that pressure. But it's been turned straight back at him. B main. Open for the taking. Khalil a timing to be taken, but Valyn is already on top of it. Every option accounted for. 2v3, Prize to be that playmaker. Steps up to the side, but Jonah P almost on ice skates with the way that he's moving like that.
That's a ridiculous 1v1 to win, Brad. And there was an Omen TP towards the A site. The spike is planted. I mean, Rafa, he has no idea where these members are. There was a guy that just got taken out at C for him.
Yeah. Since it got to the second half, I mean, G2 have been in complete control. Rafa's got to do a lot. First obstacle removed, 2 more remaining. There's a clone in your face as well, blinds it up. He's got to know the rough positioning, but Jorgamo could be anywhere. Narrowly spotted out, just baiting these shots out, and guess what? Shorty in hand. Okay, he's getting funny with it, getting funky with it, but he's bought time. And that's a true win con. Already that circle shrinking. They know it. G2 up to map point.
Just amazing play from Valyn this entire half. I mean, stepping up huge when his team needed him to start the comeback in the first place. But these trades, the shots that he hit, the reactionary play, understanding that somebody's stunned in that moment, taking full advantage. Omen TPing towards that ace side, making it impossible for Rafa to play a 1v3. Yeah. I mean, it's just a masterclass right now in this attacking half of G2. And they really haven't had to show much depth other than, okay, I'm going to wait for Furia to show their hand.
It's been all macro,
and
man.
Go next.
Yeah, it's been just the push and pull, and this time Havoc, caution to the wind, tries to take these fights straight up, but stunned up in the process. There is a follow-up, the push out through B main. It's all contained or handled, but it does still leave it to that 2v2. Jorgamo ults online, picks up the spike. The safety there with it. Gate crash all the way in and through and clears that corner. Heat has been spotted. Target acquired. Out into the open. 31 health here for Jorgamo. Snake might drop down at your feet as well. There's uncertainty in the air. Leap lands that shot. With Heat plucked out of the picture, it almost feels inevitable.
And yeah, it's up to Khalil in this 1v2. We've seen him do it before. He used to be Furia's shining star, getting tons of clutches on this controller role. But it's just going to be so difficult with this doubled up approach from the side of G2. Their post plants have been something that they have been drilling for years.
Time ticking. Pressure's on for Khalil. They've made all the noise in the world, and the time to strike is nigh. Wonderful effort by Furia, but at the end of the day, when you're going up against the Bangkok finalists, it takes a bit more to get it over the line in that fashion. Still more of the series yet to be played, of course, but a very winnable map for Furia. They just couldn't quite do it against G2.
I mean, they only won 1 round on their defensive side. They just got completely out-macroed, and we're going to be going into Ascent, but after losing like that, you imagine your spirits are beat down a little bit because it felt like you were right there.
All the confidence they had right at the beginning just petered away out of the existence, really.
But we do have to highlight, I mean, some very good things that we've seen from the side of Furia, especially on that attacking side. I mean, they really set the tone. Yeah. And I'm excited to see what they cook in the future.
There have been improvements for this Furia squad. They've definitely been cooking in the time off here, and there's still plenty more action left to come. We're going to be stepping away. When we come back, Ascent is going to be on the cards.
Red Bull gives you wings.